The Young and the Restless spoilers Fridays full February 7, 2025. The uncertain future of a dynasty. Victoria had always been a steadfast believer in the resilience of her father. In the dim corridors of the hospital, where the steady beeps of monitors mingled with hushed prayers and anxious whispers, she clung to the conviction that Victor would not meet an untimely end. "He's built an empire, and he's fought through every imaginable challenge," Victoria would say, her voice soft but determined. For her, the mere idea of losing Victor was inconceivable. She wanted nothing more than to spend as much time as possible with the man who had taught her the meaning of strength and survival. Even as the doctors painted a grim prognosis, dismissing any hope of a speedy recovery, Victoria's faith remained unshaken. She believed that the miraculous recovery of her father was not just a possibility but a destined event. Across the nation, tabloids and broadsheets carried the same tantalizing headline: "Eric Braeden retires?" Rumors abounded that the venerable actor behind Victor Newman might hang up his hat, retiring from the role that had defined an era in daytime television. Yet, behind the glitz of the media frenzy, no one dared to confirm the truth. For those who knew Victor, both on screen and in the hearts of those who followed his legacy, the thought that such an iconic figure might exit prematurely was too unsettling. The family, still gathered at the hospital and at the Newman estate, nurtured a fragile hope that Victor's indomitable spirit might defy both medical odds and the relentless gossip columns. Every whispered conversation and every determined glance was imbued with a silent plea: let the miracle happen, let Victor rise again. A battle for the future of Jabot. Meanwhile, on the other side of the corporate empire, a different kind of struggle was unfolding, a battle over power and legacy that threatened to rip apart the carefully balanced alliances at Jabot Cosmetics. Jack, ever the strategist with a penchant for seizing every opportunity, had a vision for the future that involved uniting forces with Kyle. His idea was simple yet audacious. He wanted Billy back by his side so that he and Kyle could jointly helm Jabot's operations, steering the storied company toward a future where they could finally enjoy the rewards of years of hard-fought battles. "We've fought for everything," Jack would often remind his confidants. "Now it's time to live for ourselves." In his mind, reuniting Billy with Kyle wasn't just a business maneuver, it was a chance to rewrite the rules of engagement and carve out a life of relative peace and prosperity. However, the idyllic scenario Jack envisioned was anything but straightforward. Diane, whose ambitions were as fierce as they were unyielding, had other ideas. Despite the allure of a united front, Diane viewed Billy with a deep-seated suspicion. In her eyes, Billy's presence at Jabot was a potential destabilizer, a wild card that could upset the delicate balance that Kyle had been trying to maintain. For Diane, whose past conquests and calculated moves had always centered on control, the prospect of Billy's return was unacceptable. "He'll ruin everything," she would assert, her voice laced with both bitterness and determination. Diane's ambition had always been to secure her own power and ensure that no rogue element, no matter how charming or influential, could threaten the carefully orchestrated order she so desperately sought to impose. As tensions escalated, it became clear that Diane's stance was not one she would easily abandon. Her adamant resistance to Billy's reintegration into the leadership team had already sown seeds of discord. Jack, who had long admired Diane's unrelenting drive, found himself increasingly frustrated. The thought that Diane might single-handedly sabotage a plan that could benefit them all, by driving Billy away, angered him deeply. Their constant bickering had become a familiar refrain in boardroom meetings and private conversations alike. Jack knew that, for their shared vision to come to fruition, he needed to decipher the true depths of Diane's motivations and determine whether her ambitions were worth the price of internal strife. Tensions, choices, and the tenuous threads of hope. The quiet hours of the night, when the world outside had receded into silence, Jack would often find himself pondering the future. He realized that beneath Diane's fierce exterior lay a complex mosaic of loyalty, ambition, and fear. The same ambition that had propelled her to the forefront of Jabot's management also carried the weight of personal vendettas and unspoken rivalries. For Jack, the challenge was not only to understand Diane's internal struggle but also to find a way to reconcile her aspirations with the practical necessities of running a vast corporation amid uncertain times. every decision, every heated debate, was a step toward a final reckoning that could either bind them together in a new era of prosperity or tear the organization apart at its very core. Back at the hospital, Victoria continued to be the beacon of hope amid the storm of doubt. Despite the doctor's bleak outlook, her unwavering belief in Victor's survival became a rallying cry for the entire family. The anticipation that gripped their hearts was a mix of anxiety and optimism. In the crowded waiting room, family members exchanged whispered hopes and silent prayers. Every piece of news, be it a fleeting update from the attending physician or a subtle nod of determination from a close relative, reinforced the belief that miracles, however rare, were not beyond reach. For the Newman family, the stakes could not be higher. Victor's revival wasn't just a matter of personal survival, it was symbolic of the enduring strength and legacy of the Newman dynasty. His survival was a litmus test for the future of the family, the business, and the larger-than-life empire he had built over decades. And as the media continued to speculate about Eric Braden's retirement, the family's internal resolve grew even stronger. They refused to let the whispers of the outside world dictate their destiny. Instead, they chose to channel their collective energy into the belief that Victor's journey was far from over. A crossroads of destiny and ambition. As the days passed, the tension between personal aspirations and the inexorable pull of destiny came to a head. Jack's desire to see Billy rejoin the fold with Kyle was not just about business, it was about reclaiming a piece of the past that had defined their identities. He saw in this reunion the potential for a reinvigorated future, one in which long-forgotten bonds could be reformed into alliances that were as strong as they were necessary. Yet, Diane's unyielding resistance was a stark reminder that not all wounds could be healed with ambition alone. Her wariness of Billy was steeped in a fear that his unpredictable nature could destabilize everything they had fought so hard to build. In the boardrooms of Jabot, heated debates broke out as factions formed around the competing visions for the company's future. Jack, armed with a mixture of charm and tactical acumen, sought to bridge the gap between ambition and caution. His goal was clear: to find a way to honor Diane's concerns while also seizing the opportunity that Billy's return could offer. The corporate landscape was as treacherous as any battlefield, and every move had to be calculated with precision. Jack's challenge was not simply to navigate these choppy waters but to ensure that the family's legacy remained intact amid the shifting allegiances and mounting pressures. At the same time, the family's personal struggles continued to mirror the larger drama unfolding in their professional lives. Victoria's unwavering hope for Victor's recovery served as a counterpoint to the corporate battles raging elsewhere. It was a testament to the unbreakable bond that defined the Newman family, a bond that, despite being tested by time, tragedy, and betrayal, continued to defy the odds. Every moment in the hospital, every word of encouragement and every silent prayer, was a reaffirmation of the belief that Victor was destined to live on, to continue guiding the family through the darkness into the light of a new dawn. The weight of uncertainty and the promise of tomorrow as the narrative of hope, ambition, and family legacy wove its intricate pattern, one question loomed large: would the predictions come to pass? Could Victor defy the grim expectations of the medical staff and the relentless speculation of the media? And, within the corridors of Jabot, could Jack and Kyle's vision for a united leadership overcome Diane's resolute determination to purge what she saw as a threat? The uncertainty was palpable. Every day brought new rumors and new challenges. The newspapers still buzzed with unconfirmed reports of Eric Braden's impending retirement, a rumor that, if true, would forever alter the landscape of daytime television. Yet within the walls of the Newman estate and the hospital, the focus remained on one unyielding truth: that hope, even in the face of overwhelming odds, was the driving force behind every decision made by this storied family. Jack knew that if he were to succeed, he would need to delve deeper into Diane's true desires. He needed to understand what drove her relentless ambition and how her fears could be allayed without sacrificing the vision of unity that had long been his goal. It was a delicate balance, one that required empathy, strategic foresight, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. The coming weeks promised not only to test the bonds of business and blood but also to reveal whether the Newman legacy was built on unyielding strength or if it could finally be rewritten by the forces of change. In this crossroad of destiny and ambition, the fate of both Victor's survival and the future of Jabot hung in the balance. The Newman family, emboldened by their collective hope and steeled by years of adversity, prepared to face whatever miracles or challenges lay ahead. And as the sun rose over a new day, a day filled with uncertain promises and the echoes of unspoken prayers, the one thing that remained certain was this: the spirit of the Newman dynasty, fueled by hope, ambition, and an unbreakable bond, would endure. In this turbulent saga, Victoria's unwavering belief that Victor will not die soon fuels the family's hope, even as rumors of retirement swirl around Eric Braeden's iconic portrayal. At the same time, Jack's desire to bring Billy back to run Jabot alongside Kyle is met with fierce opposition from Diane, whose ambitions and fears threaten to tear their fragile alliance apart. With every secret meeting, whispered conversation, and heated argument, the stakes grow higher, and the future of both the Newman legacy and Jabot hangs precariously in the balance. Only time, and the choices made in these critical moments, will reveal whether destiny favors unity, hope, and resilience, or whether ambition and old wounds will ultimately dictate the course of their lives. Audra's fight for survival and the looming danger ahead. Audra had never been one to back down from a fight, especially when it came to protecting herself and the life she was building with Nate. Over the years, she had perfected the art of survival, navigating treacherous waters, manipulating situations to her advantage, and always staying one step ahead of the chaos that seemed to follow her. But this time, the threat she faced was unlike anything she had encountered before. Hold'em was not just another enemy, he was a monstrous force of deception and destruction. His entire existence was a carefully crafted illusion, his web of lies designed to manipulate, control, and ultimately eliminate anyone who got in his way. He had built his empire on deception, and he wasn't about to let Audra, or anyone else, destroy it. But the final straw for Audra was when she discovered Hold'em's sinister plan to kill Nate. The moment she pieced together the fragments of his twisted scheme, an unrelenting rage took over her. The thought of losing Nate to a man as vile as Hold'em was unbearable, and she vowed that no matter what it took, she would not let that happen. Adding to the danger was the shocking realization that Hold'em wasn't content with eliminating Nate alone, he was also determined to erase Damien from existence entirely. Audra had known that Hold'em was dangerous, but she had never imagined he would go as far as trying to rewrite reality itself, silencing the real Damien in order to protect his identity. If Damien were to return, he would expose the lies, unravel Hold'em's schemes, and bring everything crashing down. And that was something Hold'em simply could not afford. The escalating threat, Audra's growing fear, the weight of the situation pressed down on Audra like a vice. She was used to playing the game, used to being in control, but this was different. Hold'em wasn't just a manipulator, he was a ruthless predator. He was willing to kill to maintain his facade, and Audra knew that her own life was hanging by a thread. Every instinct in her body screamed at her to be careful, to watch every step, because one wrong move could spell her end. And the most terrifying part? The whispers in the shadows, the silent warnings, and the gut feeling that something much worse was coming. Audra wasn't just facing an enemy, she was walking into a storm of unimaginable danger. The predictions surrounding her fate were grim. She was destined to face an enormous threat, one that would force her to confront the depths of her own resilience. Would she be able to outmaneuver Hold'em? Would she be able to save Nate? Or would she become yet another victim in his long trail of deception and destruction? Meanwhile, Jill Abbott returns. Billy's fate hangs in the balance as Audra's world spiraled into chaos. Another storm was brewing on a different front, one that threatened to change the course of Billy Abbott's future forever. Jill Abbott had always been a force to be reckoned with, and when she made a decision, she followed through with ruthless efficiency. For too long, she had watched Billy stumble, falter, and make reckless decisions that put his future in jeopardy. He had been caught up in far too many conflicts, walking a fine line between redemption and self-destruction. From her vantage point, Jill could see the warning signs all too clearly. Billy was a man teetering on the edge, pulled in too many directions, caught between ambition, responsibility, and his own self-destructive tendencies. And she had had enough. Jill's return was not a simple homecoming. It was a mission. She was coming back to reclaim control over Billy's future before it was too late. Whether Billy liked it or not, Jill was about to make a decision that would alter the course of his life. Two battles, two destinies. As the days unfolded, both Audra and Billy found themselves standing at crossroads that would define their futures. For Audra, the battle was about survival. It was about outwitting a monster, protecting the man she loved, and ensuring that Hold'em's reign of terror did not consume everything she held dear. She had to be smarter, stronger, and more ruthless than ever before, because one misstep could cost her everything. For Billy, the battle was about redemption or destruction. With Jill back in the picture, he would be forced to face the consequences of his choices and determine whether he could carve out a future for himself or fall back into old patterns of recklessness. Two different battles, two different stakes, but one undeniable truth: fate was coming for both of them, and neither could escape the storm ahead.